Tuesday, the 21st of July. I'm Jim Davis, in for Eddie Nestor all of this week. Hoping you're well, and if you've got the kids off on their school holidays, they might be running to you with a sting or a bite or anything from the back garden. Ouch, ouch. We've all been there, haven't we? Now the schools are broken up, more and more of us are going to be out and about enjoying the sunshine as it's ongoing, which is fantastic. But there are some issues you need to be aware of. Let's just focus in on the prospect of a very specific bite right now. Ticks are small, almost spider-like creatures, really, most active during the spring and summer months. They can carry infections, including Lyme disease, which is a very, very nasty infection. Let's talk more about this now with Julia Knight from Lyme Disease UK, who joins me on the line. Hi, Julia.
Hi, thanks for inviting me on.
Thank you for coming on this morning. It's that time of year, isn't it? I mean, look, we should be concerned all year round, I suppose, but particularly in the summer about the prospect of tick bites. It is an issue in London, first of all, isn't it?
It absolutely is. So ticks have been found, or infected ticks have been found in urban parks and gardens in London.
So it's not something that's sort of exclusively a concern down in the, I suppose, southwest and Devon or up in Scotland, which it is. Obviously, it is bad there, isn't it? But we all need to be aware of this, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. So infected ticks have been found in every region of the UK. Some areas, like you've mentioned, are slightly higher risk. But in every area, you should, if you are going to do an activity or go walking somewhere in grassland, woodland, heathland, you do need to be aware, because if you have that awareness and know how to prevent a tick bite, then you're not at risk of Lyme disease at all.
Which is the ideal, isn't it? Prevention is much better than cure here. So how do we go about ensuring that we protect ourselves as best we can then, Julia?
Well, the absolute number one is to be aware in the first place. And like you said, we need to enjoy our countryside. This doesn't mean you can't enjoy the countryside, but a bit of awareness goes a long way, and some simple precautions, like using insect repellent that's effective against ticks, avoid walking through long grass and stick to pathways. Mm-hmm. If you do have to walk through long grass, maybe chasing your dog or something like that, you can do a simple thing like, sounds a bit crazy, but if you tuck your trousers into your socks, if a tick brushes on you, it hasn't got a way of because what they do is, as you brush past long grass or bracken, they just brush onto you, and then they look for a nice warm place to embed. So they won't necessarily bite you where they've, brushed off onto you. They'll climb to find somewhere nice, warm to feed. So simple things like that. Wear lighter colour clothing because they're easier to spot before they embed, because they're dark, black. And as you say, they are like very tiny spider-like creatures. They are actually from the arachnid family, but not spiders. Mm-hmm. At certain times of year, they can be as small as a poppy seed when they're at the nymph stage. Very difficult to spot. So lighter colour clothing. Really important. If you've been somewhere where you think you might, you could have been exposed to ticks, always do a thorough tick check when you get home. Check yourself, check your children, check your pets. And that is essential to do. Yeah. The thing I will say is a tick bite isn't necessarily a given that you'll get Lyme disease, okay? Only roughly about 5 to 10% of ticks carry any bacteria at all, higher in some areas. But the thing is, we don't know which ones carry the infection. They haven't got a label on them.
No, they don't. That's right.
Yeah. So treat all ticks as, prevent one if possible, know how to remove it.
Well, let's talk about that, because the temptation is, if you spot it, just to bat it off, isn't it? But if it has, as you say, embedded and it's starting to bite and feed, then you need to be careful about how you remove it, don't you? Particularly from our pets as well.
Yeah, so if it has embedded, you won't be able to flick it off. So it needs to be removed properly. So there are two methods to removing it. This is all on our website if your viewers want to go and have a look. So one is with a proper tick removal tool, which you can buy quite easily, very inexpensive. Or you can use fine tip tweezers, not the blunt ones that you do your eyebrows with. And there are 2 techniques that go with those. And as I say, all the information about doing that is on our website. Always know how to remove a tick properly. Never cover it with any substance in the hope of suffocating it. That's an old sort of myth that goes about.
Right.
That can be dangerous in the respect of if you stress a tick in that way, it can, if it is infected, regurgitate into your bloodstream. And if it is infected, if it isn't carrying in bacteria, then you're sort of opening yourself up to that. So never, ever cover it with anything. Just always remove it the correct way.
Gosh, that's fascinating and worrying, obviously. But you have said only 5 to 10% of ticks we know to be infected. So it might be that it's just a regular old tick, which is still nasty in itself. But let's just go through the worst case scenario. You've been bitten by an infected tick, and what happens next then? Because I've heard of this bullseye rash we need to look out for. What is that, and what does it mean?
Okay, there's 2 scenarios here. So some people who contract Lyme disease will develop what's the correct name is erythema migrans rash. And basically that means spreading redness. And it can form that textbook bullseye, so
it's like a red circle around the bite.
Yeah. But it doesn't always. It can be solid rash. It can look a bit like a bruise, but it's the behaviour of it that's most important. So it tends to appear between 3 to 30 days after a bite. Generally, there's always an exception to every rule, isn't there? Generally isn't itchy, painful or sore, and slowly spreads outwards. The other scenario is about 30% of people who contract Lyme disease do not develop a rash. So then you're looking out for flu-like symptoms, headache, neck ache, sore muscles or joints, feeling very unwell, fatigue, lethargy. Some people get a mild fever. Some people develop a facial palsy where one side of the face drops. So it's not a given that if you contract Lyme disease, you're going to develop a textbook rash. So, know what to look for, know the signs and symptoms, know when to get medical advice.
Okay. And if you see any of those, obviously contact your GP immediately and
absolutely
inform them that you did receive a tick bite as well in the weeks before, because that will be very informative for the doctor too, won't it?
And also, if you don't know you've been bitten by a tick, because that can happen as well, because they're tiny, they feed and they fall off. If you think you've been anywhere where you might have been, maybe you've been camping or something like that, and you suddenly become very unwell, but there's no obvious reason for it. We don't usually get flu in the summer, do we? Do seek medical advice.
Very, very good advice. But as you said at the beginning, Julia, prevention is always better than cure. So try and avoid.
Absolutely.
But of course, while it's warm like this, we're all wearing shorts, aren't we? And that skin is exposed. So just perhaps avoid the areas where, like you said, long grass can be problematic. Check your pets as well, because that's also very important. They can embed inside the fur, and you don't see them for days. But once bitten, obviously make sure the tick's removed very carefully, and how to do that is all on your website. Very useful advice. Thank you, Julia. That was really interesting. I'm grateful for your time this morning. Julia Knight there from Lyme Disease UK. Do sort of bear in mind, obviously, and as Julia said herself, we don't want people to stop enjoying the countryside. It's just much better to be aware from the word go of this issue, and then you can protect yourself and your loved ones, including your pets, from a bite in the first place.